episode 46 of the CROM Updates with David Molina. David, good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning, Kurt. Doing well. How about yourself?
Now, fantastic. In the past, I've often made comments, that this could be a quick video where we just, we're checking in. You're on page, you've given me layouts for pages 3 and 4 of
Yeah.
our Last Dryad, but we usually end up going almost to 45 minutes just
Right?
really digging into this story. From my side,
Yeah.
every time I receive anything, whether it's, part of this project that we're working on or just going through your Instagram feed. Once again, if you're
Yeah.
not following David Molina, goes under Pariah Comics on Instagram, you're missing a visual feast. So the paneling that you've been doing for as long as I've been following you is amazing. And I just want to say off the bat, this is a ridiculous shot. If I was paying you in sterling
Yeah.
to do the layouts for this work, I would have said to myself, wow, everything I'm paying him, I just got in that panel that I wanted.
Wow. Thanks,
And
Kurt.
originally reaching out to you, and it's all with sincere sentiment because I have been following you for, I'd say close to a year. And when I do get your, I can only call them as panels because sometimes they're connected to a comic, but for you,
Yes.
and so that everybody understands the content is, David is not towing the making comics line as we traditionally go about it. This is literally the first comic book layout David's doing. That's correct,
Yes.
right?
That's right. Yeah.
So,
Right.
in the professional, as you and I can be professional, because I'm not paying you big bucks here.
Yeah.
In a publisher meets artist standing. This is the community where we're working on, putting together a CROM anthology. You were one of the guest artists you were the first guest artist, I should say. I reached
Yeah.
out to see if anybody would play with me in my CROM sandbox, and we have just been rolling from there. This story is called The Last Dryad, which is an old 1960s pulp story by Joseph Kellum. And we've hammered him down to 8 pages. So this is pages 3 and 4.
Yes. 3 and
And
4.
how are you feeling about these 2 pages?
There's certain things I want to talk about. I like the third page,
right.
But the fourth page, let's talk about that, right? So we have Doreen and Klob here. The page 3, the last panel of page 3. They're getting ready to go in through the second opening, I believe. And so I have him on page 4. I have Klob here. He's kind of crawling through. It's like a tight space. So I would have to go back to panel, the second to the last panel, and change that opening, right? To make it more look like it's just kind of like a shaft, really, very tight shaft.
Wait a second. So are you saying that this and this is the same doorway?
Yes, I was looking at it that way. It just makes sense to me chronologically, but like it's comics, right? So I want to see what you think about that.
No, it is comics. There's no there, now if we were to keep account, because I did read it this way.
Okay.
That there's obviously movement to the doorway. There is them. You could even be in the doorway, like they've entered it. You know what I mean? Like this, and he's like even in more shadow because he's moved into. This could be, but I'm saying me as the anchor. I'm gonna be pulling weight with you. So
Okay, cool.
let's not let you feel like you're totally stuck,
Yeah.
in
Okay.
somewhere where you've got to figure it out yourself, because that's not a true collaboration. So, the initial fact, I did look at this as the second doorway, though. I
Yeah.
know it seems very disconnected, but you
Mm.
also have to remember is we're going to have text.
Yes.
So we can also use that as, intra, there, and then, text here where it's like first door
Oh, yes, yes,
way,
yes.
yada yada. Okay,
Mm.
okay. So the
Okay.
only thing that would contradict that would be your head count for them getting through.
Got it. Yeah.
Um, or our doorway count
Yeah.
getting through. Note wise, I just want to check something here. Page 3, page 4. These are our layouts. Now, okay, here we go. So, page 5, they found. Okay, then they found the last opening that led to the inner circle of the maze,
Mm-hmm.
and it was lighter here. For a tiny fire was glowing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we're looking at, if we want to do 7,
Yeah.
you've got number 1. Let's just say number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Now, I don't,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know where you're at. Is this count congruent with you,
Well,
or are you hearing?
the I think it was page 2. They go in through the first door to the maze. So does that count as number 1?
You're right. You're right.
Right?
That's
And so it's
exactly what I
already
was just
set up.
thinking. Yes.
It's set up for
Yes.
the sixth doorway is this circle one on the last panel
You're
of
right.
page 4. And
You're
then
right.
so the next part would be
Perfect.
that they actually see the opening with the dim light coming through from
Oh,
the
okay. Oh,
yeah.
okay. You're good. No, you're super good. So this is coming through. This is coming through this wall right here. Right.
Yes.
That's
Mhm.
how I'm doing.
Yeah, that'd be the
Okay.
first.
Okay. So now we have. Okay. This is super awesome. I'm just gonna make this in blue.
So it kind of fell together by some miracles.
Yeah. No, we've been going about this, and you are right. You are right, because the if everybody wants to get a little more clarity on what David and I are talking about, you're going to have to go back and watch the other 6 or 7 updates,
Right.
because we've been at this for a while. The thing I tasked you with, I don't know if it shows it in the, no, yeah, it should show it, is in the layouts. We had cut up, you had done a bunch of panels.
Yes.
Here it is right here. You had done a bunch of panels just to
Mm-hmm.
kind of organically play with the idea of doors, the concept of doors, which I thought was, it was just freaking awesome.
Yeah.
But then when we got to the sort of spreading, the getting to know, it's getting to know Club Hair and Doreen the Weasel, and they're moving through, which is in the story, by the way, the original pulp story. Then they were making their way inside and through the maze. So these doors were getting kind of keyhole-ish. And so page 5 and 6, which at this point, we got to talk, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to leave you out on a limb saying, okay, that's a wrap. The end of the episode. Go do work. Don't go do page 5 and 6. Is then there's this engagement with a druid. That's basically the guard to the ruby and the woman, which Doreen the Weasel and Club Hair are after. And then 5, 6, 7, 8 is then our conclusion. We're just going to look at pages 5 and 6 once we clear your questions. So you're good on doorways. What else do you have in your questioning?
We talked already about changing her footwear to something totally different, because it would look weird. Like we have to have some different different
Yeah,
footwear to differentiate the characters, right? If I
correct,
mean that,
correct.
and I wouldn't have
Club
known that
hair, Doreen.
unless, yeah, I wouldn't have known that unless I drew this panel, right? The long panel with them walking, because it's gonna, okay, whose boots are whose, right? I mean, I don't know.
Right,
I was
right. Good
maybe I
call.
was thinking overthinking it, but I think it works better
Not
though,
at all.
right?
No, I do
Um,
too.
mhm,
Costume wise, though, let me.
yes.
I just want to verify something
Mhm.
because you had. Nope. Let's go back to these notes here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so there we've got. This is
Oh,
our
I see.
club hair. This is your concept.
Mhm.
Then we have Doreen the Weasel. Now here, I'm thinking, and I'm backing you on this.
Yes.
Uh, we're going barefoot,
Hmm.
right? And then, but there's this sort of like rip stocking,
Hmm.
just below the knee,
Yeah.
that's holding on, to her. And then of course, you got her big ugly foot there, barefoot. So you get to lose having to roll two pairs of boots.
Yeah.
And this had, I think we had mentioned, you had said something about like we've got a heavy metal rocker kind of
Yeah.
vibe to him. It's not centric to like a time. It's just a feeling that you're working on with the cake. But these
Yeah.
were going to be definitely shit kickers,
Yes.
combat
Yeah.
boots type
Exactly.
of thing. So what a great, once again, design panel wise, where now we're just looking at footwear, and this is
Yeah.
identifiably, digging deeper into the characters. So
Yeah. Yeah. And we right there. That's where we have the
so
squeaks, right? Squeak, squeak, squeak. The little people, I
yes,
guess.
yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
there
Yeah.
and on the
Yeah.
second panel, we can have if it's too redundant, whatever. But um, yeah.
Well, you can get yeah. I mean, these are little these are things that will come in later. I
Hmm.
will once I get all of your um, final pencil layouts. I'm gonna then take them into Photoshop and start laying in some text and
Okay.
sound effects, and
Yeah.
then we'll reconvene and prepare for Mr. Jake Jacobs to give us
Okay.
his comic book editor's mode.
Yeah.
So
I'm just
this is
worried I'm
good.
not going to be able to
Anything
finish.
else?
I was just gonna say I'm just worried I'm not going to be able to finish it on time. But I'm
It,
hoping
no, okay,
I will be.
okay. Once again, let's step back for a second. This is a no. This is a low to no stress
Yeah.
project. There will be some cutoff dates, if you will,
Mhm.
but those cutoff dates are only to help me manage the content flow of the book.
Okay.
Um, if the worst case scenario, life has you in its path because we are heading into the holidays, you got your kids back in school, this
Yeah.
kind of stuff, you know, you are a primary caregiver in your family, and we can't have you stressed out. There is always going to be the next anthology.
Okay.
I'm not a Like I keep telling people, I'm not a one and done kind of person. I really
Yeah.
want to build a community, and the only way I find to build a right proper community is to keep in the consistency. But I also have to be super realistic about my expectations,
Yeah.
just based on I'm hoping the major goal here, business wise, is to get together 200 people
Mm.
that are purchasing the anthology, because there's no digital in its
Yeah.
physical form, to be a true fan, to help support and move us forward. But I have no more expectations beyond 200
Yeah.
people, because we're dealing with super, super niche number one, which is sword and sorcery comics. And then super niche number two, which is black and white comic
Yeah.
books.
True.
So, if you took that there's 100,000 people in the United States of America, reading comic books, not Marvel and DC, but let's just say indie comic books, 100,000 people, we would be lucky in my number crunching to get 200 people to consistently stay with us. You know, in a financial support of a physical book, which could be retailing somewhere around $15 for 200 pages. Nice. Can't quote me on that when it gets to the point where, you know, things have come together, papers increased in price, whatever, fees have increased, you know, I got to stay, you know, covering cost is really all I'm doing. Yeah. But I also want to say this. Here's a nice little advertising moment. The compensation part is that people get copies of the book. This is right now retailing for $13. Copies have been sent to David, which means I can no longer sell this copy, these covers of David's. These can only be secured by getting through to David. So you've got to pay him now $13 cash, or PayPal or Venmo, whatever it is, and then plus the shipping and handling. And, you know, and then it goes from there. But that's that's the primary compensation that can keep floating our community boat here. So, and it puts cash in the hands of the artist, the guest artist. So, awesome. With that being said, low to no stress. You're halfway through, and anytime, I know you well enough, David, that anytime you do put yourself in front of the last Dryad, you're coming whole to it. Yeah. So you're not coming to it half-assed. You're not coming to it as hey, you know, let me see what I can come up with. I know that about you, and that's another layer of respect that I want to have for you.
Thank you, Kurt.
So please. And there's always working with you too. So don't ever feel like, you know, you can't make concessions with me and stuff. Because really the onus comes on me also to be able to have the time to ink. Yeah. So that's one of the things I've been playing. You know, at this point, I think I got 5. Right now, I have 5 short stories to ink.
Oh, dang!
And I will be starting next week. Yeah. Next week, inking. Now, I don't want to say it too loud, but I'm fast. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, much like yourself, I think I come whole to my work. So I don't sit there and go, what am I going to do? I don't do that. I go, okay, I gotta get this done, but I know I got to get here to here to here to here to here. So let's work. All right, get the music going on. Wow. You know, go da 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 da. So I'm not too worried about it, but at the same time, I'm not going to worry at all about it because things are going to happen. We're dealing with artists.
Right.
And we're only 2 of them.
Yeah. True. Awesome. Well, it sounds like you got lots of inking to do. 5 stories.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I'm still working on an update page for CROMthebarbarian.com where people can come and they can see kind of the page count, who's involved, where they're at, you know, so on and so on and so forth. And, you know, I have a lot of updates as they come along, a lot of dreams and wishes, you know, that might be falling short or not to fruition because, you know, just the other parties not having the ability to perform or allow those types of things and stuff. Yeah. So it's monumental, but I'm prepared. I've been preparing this for a while.
Awesome.
So.
That's sick. Hey, Kurt, when you... Okay. Yes. I was going to say, like when you get a story like from another artist or a page to ink, do you approach it differently with different artists, or how do you go about it?
Nah, not anymore. Not anymore. But you know, the thing I'll share is I've been doing some pinups. So I've been live streaming some pinups. So currently, right now, I'm working on this James Anthony pencils. For you know, I came across him through Ram Parsons, who's working on a CROM and the Ziggurat of Blood prose story, which we just recorded episode 45 in our first meeting, so check that out. I just came across it through Rom, James's work, links in the description to get to these guys on Instagram, and it was just like, man, I just took a chance, sent him a message through Instagram, like, hey, any chance of having a pencil laying around that you let me ink, as I go live? And I got this, which is two of his characters, which are centuries in a comic he's working on. But I just finished CROM and the Upside Down Damsel.
Oh, yeah.
And this is really, if you want to say, this is step one, and this is step done.
Okay.
So this is where I've come together, because this one I also put together some screens from photo I shot outside a Wegmans grocery store for some foliage. So it's something I've been playing around with. Ken Landgraf's screens, integrated collaging elements for that. So was super happy about that. And of course, I kicked it off with this Conan.
Oh, yes, the Conan.
And the Conan the Bodyguard, which was just a pencil sketch, so I had to make all of this up. As a matter of fact, Rom Parsons was the one that suggested when I was live streaming that I'd have like a burning village or city over there, which kind of helped bring the story together. But I'm dealing with a painterly value system making inking process, because what it comes down to, let's see if I can I don't know if I have all my, here it is. Oh, wow, no, that's for this one. We'll just go back to this one. Is I'm depending on whatever it is I'm doing, what I'm doing at like art making size, like this is 11 by 17, that it gets shot down to 8.5 by 11 and cropped too. And so then there's this just black and white dealing with the paper. And that's what I'm aiming for. So there's a lot of things going on, but I also, as long as I've been doing this, God, I have to use my words carefully, because God forbid somebody did want to work with me, but for pay. But I really don't spend a lot of time in a piece.
Yeah.
Physically, I'll spend hours thinking about the piece. Oh, what if I do this after this? What if I did this, and then have to do that? What if and then what I then do is just recalibrate all that information and then it out. And then if things are wonky, I then just have to, cut a piece of paper or white out and rework it. But in the end, it's totally printable, because I'm going for only physical print. I'm not interested in you owning a PDF copy of CROM the Barbarian, which right now you can't get a hold of unless somebody gets a hold of this and cuts it up and scans it and turns it into a PDF, which I pray somebody doesn't do. I'm not asking for that. But, it is the internet. You can't guard it all. But it is I want people to have the same feeling I get, which is, wow, man, this is an afternoon of sitting down a couple of times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
It's not oh, I read that. What's next? That type of run through.
Yeah.
But let me ask that question back at you. When you sit down, are you just dealing with the white of the paper and a ruler and or do you have something a little more thumbnailed and established even in just your head?
What I did with this page was I knew I wanted him going through like a pretty tight space, like that one panel I drew a few weeks ago. He's going through one of the entrances and you see his hand, right? You see his hand. And so I do like little sketches of different angles on a separate sheet of paper. And then whichever one I like, I bring it and sketch it onto the panels. So I grid it out first, right? I grid it out.
Yep.
Sometimes I grid it out first, or I just grid out one panel to see how it can flow. But
Yep.
yeah, it's just I do thumbnail sketches and figure out which angle I'd like to use to
But you
serve the
know what's
story.
going into the boxes,
Yes. I had to sit down and read
right?
the
Right.
script, and then I just don't start slinging pencils because
Right.
I know that'd
Right.
be
Right. And then
insane.
like, oh shit, I gotta do this and do that. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
no, that,
This is
it
more.
is, it is. Like, and
I was gonna say this is more
right.
like a controlled thing, right? Because I could do my other paneling stuff, but it's just gonna be fucking everywhere. This is more a little bit concise and.
Yeah, I mean, if there was any suggestions slash request,
Yeah.
and I'm guessing this for your outside CROM process and watching you on
Mm.
Instagram is, the idea of building a comic book panel to panel without it having to be all on one page.
Yeah.
I get super interested in that. Now, I think it can get you can get a lot really squirrely with it. In other words, you can get the cart can get really loose and run off on
Yeah.
itself.
No. Yeah.
But I get curious about like how this process comes to be in making decisions to see it
Yeah.
in a panel form like you present in your on your Instagram.
Yeah. I wish I could explain it, because I know I have a process, but I'm just doing it, right? And then I don't have the words to explain it. I think I'm gonna have to just
But
record
that's
myself,
art. That
right?
should never feel bad about that. That's art. That's art.
Yeah.
And if you could explain it, then most people would their reaction would be like, "Well, that's weird. Why would you do it that
Yeah.
way?" You know.
Yeah. And one day we'll get together and we'll make a comic, 24-hour comic, dude.
Heck yeah,
We'll
heck
see both
yeah.
our
But
processes.
the request is kind of like, and like I said, I'm going to gradually get to this point myself.
Yeah.
I am admittedly not. I do not have a complete comprehension of how a comic book is made.
Yeah.
Not how to make a comic book, how it's made. I understand it's story and art. I get that part.
Yes.
I understand also that the story needs to be the thing that anchors, right?
Mm-hmm.
But is there a way to sort of like spend time working on panels in I'm assuming you've played jigsaws.
Yeah.
You put jigsaw puzzles together with your kids,
yes.
right? My wife and I love it. We actually go on vacation to do it. You know what I mean? That's our
That's pretty cool.
We always have for a week off once a year.
Yeah.
We put a puzzle down on the table in the living room wherever we're staying, and it's that we'll either be together or one will be there and before the other or something like that. But all of these puzzle pieces come together to fit a picture.
Okay, yes.
Because you have in front of you what you sent me and what I printed, and this is one piece of paper. Mm-hmm. This is not 2 pages.
Yep.
This is one piece of paper as an image. It just so happens to be classified as page 3
right.
and page 4 of a comic book called The Last Dryad, which is based on this, and I'm working on it with Kurt Brugel, and it's CROM-centric, and all this other. It's like, all right, let's throw it all out.
Yeah.
You said earlier, and here I'll just bring this in. You made this panel prior.
Yes. Yeah.
This panel was made prior in a freestyling, let's say, in stuff that you conceptually got to me before we started laying out the pages. Yeah. And here you're making another adjustment. I know myself as well as other artists, there is another panel that lives between these 2 panels.
Oh, yeah.
There's even another panel that comes, you know what I mean? It just becomes the timing of how much time you want and have to spend on something in order to clarify that, oh, this is the panel, dude, let's move on. You know?
Yeah,
whether
exactly.
you're saying that to me, whether you're saying that to me or yourself.
Yeah, and also like.
But this is why I brought you in. This is why I brought you into the project.
Thanks.
It's just hands down. You're a masterful pencil pusher and ink slinger, but really at the core, I find that the connector for somebody to your work is this paneling in making a comic, because you don't really make comic books. You're not somebody sitting down going, oh, page 1, panel 1, page 2, panel 3, 4, 5. It's like the comic. I'm the same way though too. It just comes out a little differently and a little bit forced on the way that my methodology is. But I sit there and be like, dude, that'd be a cool panel. Now I got to build a whole story around it.
Oh yeah. No, like
and like I said,
go ahead, Kurt. Go ahead.
Okay. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna just go down the. So in making this, sometimes I have a set of panels, right? And one of them speaks to me. Something tells me this is this. Oh, and it's like an epiphany. Oh, this panel would go great here, and then the other one can follow. And so it becomes like a snowball effect, and then you're in the zone. You're in the zone, and you can really start digging into
That's
it.
That's a perfect explanation.
Yeah.
That's a perfect explanation. And then you're in the zone.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you want as a creative person.
Oh yeah.
That's all a creative person wants is just to be left the fuck alone to make what it is they're supposed to make. I don't need you anymore, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also like you read a script, you see the points where you want to well, in this case you put the main points of page 5, let's say, right? And so there's a blueprint now, right? But like if I'm coming at this now that I have the blueprint, I don't have to really think of that. If I just want to follow the blueprint that you set down, right? But you can always go in and see pull something else out of it, right? But in that point, I would panel all the points that kind of talk to me, and then I bring whatever panel that is onto the page. Then it informs the next one. But I just said the same thing over and over again.
It's okay. It's okay. It could be. I'm struggling with language. Only because I think some words they have so much weight in them, and I have had some adverse reactions to this. But I am struggling against the concept in this situation of professionalism.
Okay.
So the problem you and I are having right now is twofold. The first fold is we don't know each other that well. It's not like it's like, come on, Dave, let's go hang out. And then you're just like, you get to know me in a social setting and I get to know you in a social setting. So we get to know each other. We just sit here not looking at each other in our faces. We're looking at each other's art, primarily right now is yours. And then we're moving through. The second thing is there's this unspoken professionalism of what a comic book is and how it's made professionally. And I know this is hyperbolic to say, but I really don't want anything to do with it other than to have enough pages that make sense to print an anthology.
Exactly.
I'm more interested in all of these smaller things. By the way, this is a CROM-centric story, everybody. This does not have CROM in it, but it is a part of his world, which David and I have established. These two characters, Clobhair and Doreen the Weasel, are going to come into other material that is either procured by David and I, or we're hoping other people too. Hey, dude, I made this nod to Clobhair. Oh, I made this nod to Doreen the Weasel. Yeah. That to me is not professional. Like that's that's not a professional way of handling
Right. Right.
a project, because what you're doing is I'm being told is you're confusing people,
Mm.
right? But if you're like yourself, David, hungry enough, you really want to be a part of something, or you really want to do something,
Yeah.
in working with me and CROM the Barbarian and such, you're going to make your way through it. But what you're going to make your way through it is going to be like, hey, Kurt, here you go. There you go. There it is. Deal with it. Because you can't, I can't come back and be like, oh, David, this is a really good first attempt. Can I get you to read? It's just not. It's just not. The only thing I would want to keep in, take out of the professionalism is if you say, look, man, I'm going to be able to get this done, but, it's going to take me time. And you keep showing up every 2 or 3 weeks with 2 pages or 1 page, or, you know what I mean? You stay connected with me.
Yes.
Even if you do have to disappear for a while, which has already happened once, where you did communicate to me, hey, got this situation, just going to thank you very much, David. If there's anything I can do, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's the only thing out of the professionalism I want.
Exactly.
Yes. Because just like you said, you can't vocally explain how you work. And I don't want you to. I just want you to work. I just want you to make, bro.
Yeah.
I just want you to make. Yeah. So let's not, waste time, as professionals would say. How and where are you on pages 5 and 6?
Well,
you're pretty much fresh at them, right?
Yeah, I haven't started them. So I'm going to start them pretty soon. But I'm really excited to get down to where we see the druid. It's lit by his flame, right? He has like a little campfire or whatever. And that's going to be a challenge, but also I'm excited because it's going to be it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I got it. And
so I'm really excited.
That's what I want. No, we just went through 30 minutes of anchoring that to what the truth is of our process. Now, the thing is that this is straight out of the story, and that was something we had decided upon, episodes back. But here's the real sweet part is that exactly what you just said is exactly how I want you to approach the page. In other words, that panel through that doorway, which could be panel 1 or 2, or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, or whatever it is the anchor. And everything else that's on this page is just to frame that panel.
Go.
All right. And so when you do the same thing here in 6, just where we're at with pages 1 through 4, it's just going to be sweet. And to tease people on the last page, this is literally David's first concept after having read The Last Druid by Joseph Kellam, and this is not really what you're going to. This is really not what you're going to see.
No,
but he and I have agreed that this is a great. Instead of having the splash page at the beginning, Last Dryad, and what the is that? And David Molina and Kurt Brugel work on that. That's where it's all going to end, and the little white squeaky people will be running around their feet, and you and I will be among those little squeaky people. That's what we're ultimately heading to. So there's enough to pull you along. But I just want to say, do not fret. I want you to do the opposite. I just want you to stay excited. And then if you do get to a place where you're like, shit, I can't get my head out of, my ass there with this thing. Let me just double check with Kurt. Is it left or right? Is it left or right? Is it A or B? Is it black or white? What is, help me just get you moving, and go.
Yeah. I just lost you for a minute.
So do you have anything else Nah, yeah, we're all right.
Or it's buffering or some shit.
Yeah, you're coming in at
All right.
1920p. Yeah, your setting, your camera setting is pretty high. We're going to talk about that. But anyhow, um, the I don't have anything else. Like I said, if there are things that you want to discuss here and now, let's do it. If not, let's let these people get back to
No, yeah, I'm good.
you as well. Reading comics, making them if you do. You're good?
All right. I'm good. Thank you, Kurt.
All right, cool. So once again, let's just wrap it up with CROM the Barbarian. It's in the wild. CROMthebarbarian.com is where you can get your copy of 140 pages of black and white goodness. I've been telling people when you do get your copy, skip all the way to page 30 of the Warlock, CROM and the Warlock of Shardor, part 7. Read that last ending passage because that has a lot of the secret sauce to how I'm going to be working towards getting CROM, this silly little jungle barbarian boy, to a dark and brooding god that a guy like Conan would swear to. As I mentioned earlier, too, links in the description to David Molina, Pariah Comics on Instagram. You can message him to secure a copy of the same 140 pages of Sword and Sorceress black and white goodness, but with his rendition of CROM. So with that being said, David, I'm looking forward to the next page or two. So, all right. Take care.
All right. You have a good one.